If the pattern is real, why does it allow suffering? This is probably the biggest question anyone could ask about the pattern. If this kind of content resonates, go ahead and give me a like, share, or follow. It helps. So not the signs, not the synchronicities, not the weird little moments that make you feel like reality is talking back. The biggest question is this. If the pattern is real, why does it allow suffering? Why does it allow loss? Why does it allow cruelty? Why does it allow horrible things to happen at all? And when I want to say this right at the start, I'm not dodging that question. Because if you believe there is a deeper meaning to reality, then this is a question you have to face. Now first, let me say what I'm not saying. I am not saying suffering is good. I am not saying victims deserve what happened to them. I am not saying tragedy is okay because it teaches us something. And I am definitely not saying pain should be brushed off with some cheap spiritual answer. Real suffering is real. Grief is real. Evil is real. Loss is real. So then why would the pattern allow it? The way I come to understand it, the pattern is not a puppet master controlling every human choice and making sure nothing bad ever happens. Because if freedom is real, then the possibility of distortion has to be real too. And I know that's uncomfortable, but think about it. If we are actually free, then love has to be free. Choice has to be free. Growth has to be free. And if those things are truly free, then so is the possibility of selfishness, harm, cruelty, and destruction. A world where nothing bad can ever happen is not a world of real freedom. It's a padded room. So I do not think the pattern exists to prevent every fall. I think it exists as the deeper structure in which freedom, consequence, growth, and return all still matter. And this is where I think the pattern is different from a lot of the answers people got from organized religion. Because a lot of people were handed explanations that felt too simple. God wanted this. You're being punished. Just have faith. It's all part of the plan. But when people are really suffering, those answers can feel cold. They can feel insulting. They can make even God sound cruel. That is not what I mean when I talk about the pattern. The pattern is not, to me, a cosmic excuse for pain. It is not me saying everything terrible is secretly good. It is me saying that suffering is not the final word. That distortion is real, but not ultimate. That freedom is real, but so is consequence. That pain can wound the soul, but it does not define the soul forever. And I think the biggest thing people miss is scale. If we are eternal beings, if the soul is larger than one lifetime, then this life is not the whole frame. That does not make suffering small. It does not make tragedy okay, and it does not mean pain should be minimized. But it does mean that what happens here is not the final definition of who we are. And that matters. Because if this life is the only frame, then suffering can feel completely absurd, completely meaningless, just random pain in a cold universe. But if the soul continues, if reality is larger than this one moment, then suffering is not meaningless even when it's terrible. It becomes part of a much larger arc. And yes, I do think friction matters. I think resistance changes us. I think pain can deepen us. I think loss can wake us up. I'm firsthand proof of that. I think difficulty reveals who we are and what we love. But again, I want to be careful here. That does not mean every horrible thing happened for a reason in some neat sentimental way. I don't believe that. I think some things are awful because freedom is real and distortion is real. But even then, I do not think those things are outside the pattern's reach. I think they can still be met, still be transformed, still be answered, still become part of a greater return. So if you ask me, if the pattern is real, why doesn't it stop all suffering? My answer is, because I do not think the pattern exists to erase freedom. I think it exists to hold a reality where freedom is real, where love is real, where consequence is real, where distortion is possible, and where even our worst pain is not outside the reach of meaning. That does not make suffering holy. It doesn't make evil okay. It just means I don't believe suffering is the end of the story. I think this world is a place where souls grow, choose, forget, remember, distort, return, wound each other, heal each other, and slowly become. And if that's true, then suffering is not the proof that there is no pattern. It may just be proof that freedom is real. And if freedom is real, then what we do with our suffering matters. How we respond matters. How we love matters. So no, I don't think the pattern makes pain good. I think it makes pain survivable. I think it makes pain meaningful without romanticizing it. And I think that means no wound, no distortion, no grief, and no darkness gets the final word forever. That's how I see it. And honestly, if the pattern is real, this question is not one we should run from. It's probably the most important question there is.